We started. Got so much shit to do. Don't even know where to start. Be here forever. I think that's the plan. Start here, head up there. Soon as you think something's going on, you start back over. It's never gonna be the same. I ain't complaining though. Really wouldn't have it any other way.
Sharp like an edge of a samurai sword, the mental blade cut through flesh and bone. No, my mind's at peace, the world out of order. Listen, then the heat, life gets colder. Oh yes, I have to find my path. No less walk on earth, water and fire. The elements compose a man. Opens my modus operandi as an amalgam. Steel packed tight in microchip on my armor, a sign of all pro. The ultimate reward is diamond out of wars at odds with the times of wars with no lords. A freelancer, a battle cry of a hawk, make a dove fly and a tear dry. Wonder why a lone wolf don't run with the clan, only trust instincts and be one with the plan. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the way of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, sun up, sun down, the sons of a battle cry. Some days, some nights, some live, some die in the name of the samurai. Some fight, some bleed, sun up, the sun down, the sons of a battle cry. Battle cry.
Yo, yo, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? How y'all doing, man? Hope everybody's had a solid weekend. All right, today we gonna do like we're gonna do some portfolio reviews today. Then we got a new design challenge rolling out. I was thinking about designing something later, but yeah, we'll see how the portfolio reviews go first. Then maybe I'll design something, maybe I won't. You know, we'll see though. So yeah, let's get into some portfolio reviews, man. I'm hoping that we can do sort of like more portfolio reviews. You know, incorporate more portfolio reviews within the live streams. You know, want to start to implement some different ways that you guys can like get value out of these streams besides just, you know, watching me whip something up, which I'm sure that's helpful for some people, you know, but you know, I'm sure other people would much rather prefer to have, you know, some feedback on their design work, you know, their portfolios and stuff, you know. So yeah, let's jump into some of that stuff. Y'all let me know if like the background music is too loud. But yeah, let's see what we got here. Let me see if I have any additional submissions before we sort of get the ball rolling here. Okay, no additional submissions as of now. So, okay, here are the portfolios that we have. We've got Talia, we've got Yewin Design, Kel Slovenia, Ben Yeah, and then we've got Sydney. So we're gonna be doing some few portfolio reviews. Few portfolio reviews for the design homies here. And I'm guessing we'll just start with Talia. So let's see how that's going. Or let's see her portfolio there. See what we got. Well, let me move this out the way here. Nico says Swoop is the GOAT. That's it. Appreciate it, broski. Appreciate it. I do what I can, you know what I'm saying? Just trying to make a difference, make a tiny dent in the universe. That's what we're about. But all right, let's see what we got here. So Talia McBean. So we've got Arm & Hammer rebrand. Famous Amos Cookies ad campaign. About Talia, she's a current third-year undergrad student majoring in graphic design at Georgia Southern University. So far, experience with typography, branding, logo print, and a little bit of motion graphics, looking to expand on current skills and learn more about the Adobe Suite in the creative field. Okay. Hybrid image. Okay. Type and image relationships. Okay. So I'm guessing these are all just different projects from school. And so kinetic typography. Okay. We'll just click into some of these and just kind of see what we got here. So project 1. So project 1, Arm & Hammer rebrand. Okay. Okay, a little bit of I forget the term for it, but a little bit of, you know, brand sort of research, just kind of seeing where Arm & Hammer falls as it relates to competing brands or you know, competitors and whatnot. Okay. It would be nice to have Arm & Hammer here also, so you know, you could kind of see where they fall as it relates to everyone else within the sphere. Okay, got some brand story here. Okay. Okay. At initial glance, I think within, if this is a rebrand, I think it would be good to show the kind of before and after, because you know, if I didn't know what Arm & Hammer was, you know, I wouldn't have any context as to you know, the changes that you're making here. So let me see. Now let's see the packaging, because it's the rebrand. So you gotta not only redesign the logo, but you know, kind of redesign packaging as well. Let's see here. Okay. I think it would be good if you let's see, like for the for the logo here, you know, that the arm, you know, just with the hammer, like that icon, like you know, that pictorial sort of image there is just so iconic. Um, you know, I think you lose a lot of the branding here. And this kind of starts to feel more within the realm of like Fruit of the Loom. So it's kind of giving me like this sort of vibe here, because you're using like different this, you know, I'm starting to, you know, I'm seeing fruit, but Arm & Hammer doesn't necessarily, and they haven't shown any fruit within, you know, sort of their packaging or within their logo there. And so I think if you could rework this to include the arm or include a hammer, you know, of, you know, in some way, I think it would start to relate a little bit more. So but let's keep going. It would also be nice to have like a little blurb of copy somewhere here that just kind of walks us through like your design process and like you know, why you made the design decisions that you made, so that we could have some additional context as to the decisions there. So here we go. We've got some packaging. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, "Hello, glad to be able to catch one of your streams finally." Yeah, thanks for being here. Every Sunday. Every Sunday I try and kick things up around like 3 p.m. Central Time. Started a little bit late today just because I kind of needed to knock some stuff out, but we here though. We made it. Okay. Okay. For the logo, I think it would have been nice to also keep like the badge, because across these products, it kind of, the Arm & Hammer logo like really feels more, less like a logo and more kind of like a seal of approval, or like a stamp of approval in ways. And so if you could turn this into some sort of emblem mark, you know, so that it retains that sort of like a stamp of approval sort of look to it, I think that would be a step in the right direction also. Okay, let's move on to some of the other projects you've got there. Okay, project 2, famous Amos Cookies ad campaign. Okay. Brand story. This story emphasizes the social aspect of enjoying famous Amos cookies, highlighting how they can bring people together and create shared moments of happiness. Okay. And let me just so I can get like some additional context there, because I'm not familiar. And is this wait, would this be okay, ad campaign. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Okay. This is nice. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Okay, this is nice. I like this. Find a moment of joy with the classic crunch of famous Amos cookies. Share the goodness. I would have liked to see. Um, I think the illustrations are dope. I like how you've incorporated the cookie, within these sort of illustrations here. Um, I think it would have been better to stay consistent with the typeface here and just keep the same typeface across all three, and maybe even the same color background as well. Um, like I really like how everything looks here with the yellow. And like as far as typeface, I like how this works, but I do like how the sans serif typeface is working over there as well. But I'm biased when it comes to sans serif typefaces because that's all I use. But I really do like this typeface, and I like the typeface that you're using for the copy below it there. Um, I do feel like in a way the type kind of feels like an afterthought a little bit. So I would have made this like increase the size of this a little bit, as well as the subtext that you have here. Or maybe sort of utilize like like a different placement, because where it is currently, it's kind of tense within this area here, and I feel like you probably could have repositioned the illustration a little bit to make the type sort of to give the type room to breathe and give it some additional white space. Maybe even taking this subtext here and bringing it closer to uncap you're happy, or and maybe instead of having sort of the same sort of line down here, instead of having that same line, maybe you take the subtext here, bring that there, and then just have the headline just live on its own. There's a lot of opportunity here. Cyber Sensei says, how would I be able to submit my portfolio for review? I posted a link on it's a story post on Instagram. So if you click on that, and then it'll take you to a form submission, then you can submit there. But what would be easiest if you just it would be easier if you just jumped into the Discord. Within the Discord community, there's a thread there that you can. Okay, I see you've already made it. Yeah, you already found your way to it. So cool. Cyber Sensei also says, this is very sick, just feels a tad bit too plain. Yeah, no, this is headed in the right direction though. Okay, got a bus ad poster. Okay. 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 I think you've laid the groundwork here with some nice sort of illustrated elements, um kind of, and the cookie itself. I think you just kind of need to button things up a little bit with the consistency in your layouts. So like, we've got sans serif for the headline here. Then we've got serif here. um then all the way up here we've got like we've got like handwritten like typeface sort of vibe going on. I would like to see some consistency. You don't want, to kind of switch up your typefaces too much. I think it starts to kind of pull away from the illustrations a bit. So yeah, I'd say pick one typeface, stick with that one, and then just kind of focus on the illustrations. And then also, I think you could it would be helpful if you stuck with just like one color for all of these and just kind of emphasized layout. And I really like this yellow here. I think it pops well with the logo here for the Cookies brand. All right, let's keep going. I think I'll pick one more here. Let's do type and image relationships, hybrid image tracking and expression. Let's do the kinetic typography one there. Oh, okay. So this is like a motion graphics sort of
and we
thing.
only wear jeans or track pants on Fridays. Now, if you break any of these rules, you can't sit with us at lunch. Well, I mean, not just you, like any of us. Okay, like if I was wearing jeans today, I would be sitting over there with the art freaks. Oh, and we always vote before we ask someone to eat lunch with us because you have to be considerate of the rest of the group. Well, I mean, you wouldn't buy a skirt without asking your friends first if it looks good on you. I wouldn't? Right.
Okay. We need context for this. It would be nice to have like some sort of like little blurb, like walk us through, the process a little bit, or just kind of like the creative brief here, because it's hard to kind of understand without knowing what exactly it's for. I think you've got like some cool like effects going on within this, but let me see here. Let me play it back. Like that was cool. Like that little breaking animation there. I think if you sort of focused on just like a few sort of standout kinetic effects, like similar to this one, like I think this is probably like a stronger one of the stronger effects within this sort of visual. But I think if you just focused on more of those, and like that effect, that was really cool. Like how you did the art freaks sort of animation there. I think that would have I think that looks nice. I think it would have been way stronger if you just focused on a few like animations like that, and then just played around with the layout a little bit more, like what does it look like if maybe text is bigger and within some areas, how kinetic type does, where they'll have like a word that's like way bigger than the rest of the words, and then all of the words are like, there are words that fall under it that's smaller, or maybe like all of the words jump into screen, and then they shift out of screen, and then another one comes in that's like way bigger than the rest. You know how kinetic type does. It's like kind of hard to explain, but let's see here. Yeah, give us some context, but motion graphics really isn't my like area of expertise, so whatever I say, like as it relates to motion graphics, take it with a grain of salt. But there's some good opportunity within this, I'm sure, like I know with like graphic design projects, especially when you're like working on them like in college, you've got limited time to do this stuff, and like the project assignments are pretty strict. So you know, I'm sure you were you know, crunching against the deadline to get this done, or this was probably your first stab at motion graphics. But yeah, I think you've got like a solid foundation down for you know, for motion graphics. I think maybe just start to work on like your like the way you like ease in, ease out, you know, of different things, you know. I know within After Effects they've got that like I forget the name of it, but they've got like the graph where you can just kind of control the speed of like your keyframes and whatnot. And so I think if you kind of get in there and just kind of start playing around with like your keyframes a little bit more, just kind of experimenting a bit, just kind of maybe look at like you know, some you know, different like animations as far as kind of what they do, you know, like how certain effects are kind of pulled off. Like for example, like if you take a ball and like and drop it on a table, you know, if you do that within After Effects, if you just kind of take a circle or take a sphere or something, keyframe it down, you know, to go to the table, then keyframe it back up, it's not gonna look that realistic. You know, you've got to figure out the little tips and tricks, you know, to make it look a little bit more realistic within your keyframing. You know, like instead of just keyframing the ball like up and down, you know, what does it look like when you keyframe the ball to hit the table, but then you kind of squish the ball down a little bit, and then, you know, kind of bring it back up to its normal size as it's, you know, bouncing off of the table, like things like that. You know, I hope that explanation makes sense, but I'm no expert in motion graphics, so like I said, take what I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, just keep working at it. Yeah, I think you've got some good stuff going here. Overall though, I would say I know a lot of designers like to do this sort of like you know, you know, having all of your projects sort of on Behance, but having them say like or like having buckets. Well, I think, you know, instead of having like titles for each project, you know, I think just show the project. I don't think you need to have this sort of like cover thumbnail, you know, that's the same for each project. Just show the work, you know, let the work speak for itself. Like I remember seeing there's one portfolio that had like they had like different buckets. So it was like, oh here's cover art, or here's my here are all of my website designs. Instead of doing that, just show the work, you know. It'll be way easier to understand, you know, and you know, your projects get the chance to shine right off the bat, as opposed to having just these thumbnails there. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ruby X said, I had no time sending my Behance link. Is it possible for me to send it now and review it at the end of stream? Yeah, just drop it into the thread on Discord. That's what I'm going through right now. And so yeah, just drop it in. Cyber Sensei says, show the work up front or craft a thumbnail that fits the feel of the work. Yeah, exactly. And then also for your layouts, for your project layout, I know Behance isn't the best when it comes to like, you know, page builder, you know, tools that you can use to kind of, you know, build this out and build out this sort of project or case study page to make it look better. And so but I would definitely say, you know, like let's see. Okay. Yeah, I would say focus on the overall just layout and presentation a little bit more. You know, because you've got, it's very linear, you know. My eyes just going kind of straight down the page. You know, you want to make it interesting, you know, with these with the layouts for things. You know, you got your brand matrix, maybe you have brand matrix, you know, in just kind of a larger sort of a typeface on the left hand side, and then you've got, you know, your sort of your graphic here on the right hand side of that. But then below you've got, you know, your brand story, and it's kind of like it's in a different sort of it has a different treatment than you know, than the brand matrix, to, you know, keep it interesting as you're going through these. And yeah, I say just work on the overall layout of it a little bit. It's there's a lot of white space here, you know, within sections like this especially. So yeah, just refine the layout a bit, and I think you'll be in a good spot. But yeah, thanks Talia for submitting. Hope you got some good feedback out of that. Let's go ahead, let's move on to Yewin Design. All right, and they've got theirs on Flipping Book, so let's check this out. Can y'all hear that background music there? Or I don't want it to be too loud, but if it's not loud enough, just let me know. All right, so we got Yewin Design here, and this is their portfolio on Flipping Book. So I'm just gonna just do kind of like a brief kind of flip through, just to get an overall feel for it. Then I'll just kind of go through and just sort of kind of, you know, call out some individual pages and, you know, just provide you with some feedback here. So let's just see. Cyber Sensei says turn it up slightly. All right, actually let's turn it up from within. There we go. All right, all right. Okay. And I think this is in I was looking at this earlier. I think this was this is in a different language. So yeah, bear with me on the feedback. I don't think I'll understand everything within here, but I can definitely give you some feedback on just like overall sort of vibe. So let's see. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, do all designers go to 90s D&B when we work? My friends and I always queue up some of this in the background when we're just kicking it and working. That's what I don't know about all designers, but that's what I do. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I'm listening to DMB, I feel like I really start cooking. Like I feel like I really lock in. Like sometimes it's hard for me to focus when I'm like trying to design and listen to kind of music that has like kind of like words in it, especially if I need to like really focus. So I like D&B just because it's just a vibe, you know. But okay, so let's see. off the bat, just I would say if you're submitting this to like a company or like an agency that you want to work for or something, like I'd say remove like any of these like trendy sort of flourishes that you have, you know. It doesn't need you know, your cover isn't the place to go all out, you know what I mean? So just make it simple. Just say, you know, my portfolio. I think a few small elements is like is fine, but you know, you wanna really keep it simple. You know, you don't want, you know, a potential hiring manager to just, you know, start to judge you solely based on the cover of your portfolio. You know what I mean? You want them to kind of, you know, start to develop, you know, a notion of you just based off of the work, not the cover art, or not the cover of the portfolio there. So I think this illustration here is really awesome. I think you could have just easily had this on the cover there, just simple with your name, and that would have been awesome. I think you can definitely do away with like you know, some like the UI sort of there. Like, let's just let the illustration shine, because, you know, this may not be all that to you, but a lot of people can't do stuff like this. So definitely, you know, let your illustration skills shine through. You know, maybe even you do like if there's a way that you can kind of incorporate this sort of UI sort of look into the illustration so that it feels unified, I think definitely do that. But if not, you know, like I think the illustration here is cool enough to stand on its own without any additional flourishes. And you can just have this be the only element, the only like graphical element on the page. Get rid of the mouse there, get rid of like the sort of folder within the about me dropping into the folder thing here. You don't need any of it. Okay. I'd get rid of the stars around this also. Okay. Okay. And for this page, I'd say instead of let me go back through this really quick and see how many projects you've got. So you've got packaging. Okay, so 1. Okay, packaging. Okay. Branding, okay. Okay. So we got 1. This looks like, is this a logo for something else? Okay, then we got 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3, 4, 5. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. So I say definitely narrow down your portfolio. It looks like you have roughly 15 projects within here. I'd narrow this down to your top 7 or 8 projects. And instead of having, let's see here. instead of having this page here that says, oh, here's all my packaging, oh, here's all my branding, here's all my covers, just make this you know, your top 7 projects, and then, you know, just specify what page it each of those projects are on. And so I forget the name of what you would call that page, but yeah, packaging, branding, covers. Then okay, so these are 2 different. So I'm guessing this is the logo for the Firmus. Okay. And talk a little bit about your process with these as well. You know, show us how you got to this logo. Talk about the process behind that. And, you know, seeing as it's your portfolio, you don't need to show sketches or anything, but if you could walk us through you know, the brand a little bit, what the brand is, and kind of, you know, why you made some of the design decisions that you made. I think the thinking behind that is going to be more important than the actual designs themselves. So yeah, you know, definitely, you know, talk about your design work, and kind of you know, tell us what you're doing here, because you know, we can't really determine much based off of just the logo. And we've got branding, and you don't really need these pages in between here. Just walk us into the next project, so you can get rid of these. Okay, branding. Okay. I like this project. I think this one is solid. I think you should expand on this one a little bit more. You know, talk about each piece, you know, if you can, or just provide like a little bit of context, you know. I think this is one that would play well if your portfolio, well, I know with Flipping Book you could have, okay, so here's the link to a teaser there, but if you had the link to like the actual website that we could see, that doesn't look like it's the actual website, then that would be good. But for print, I would say leave out the web projects. Or no, actually, I take that back. Leave the project in. You can do that, but let's see. I think showing like just this, like something like this would be fine. For print medium, I don't think you necessarily need to have the QR code and stuff there. Just show us, you know, that a few standout pages, you know, so the home page there, maybe a few other pages that you like, but keep it within this sort of like this sort of format here, you know. Maybe you've got them like sort of overlaid within sort of a UI window, but don't extend it to like the top and bottom of the page, because like in print format, I won't really understand what this is, but I can look at the laptop here and know, okay, this is, you know, supposed to be like a website design of some sort. So if you can just show a few standout pages with like the laptop mockup instead of kind of doing this kind of web page sort of bleeding all the way to the edge look, I think then you'd be in a good spot. Okay. Cyber Sensei says that Wonderland project was the best one so far. Such a nice use of the color palette they chose, and the fonts really lent to giving that vibe of Alice in Wonderland / Willy Wonka, if that makes sense. Yeah, definitely Alice in Wonderland Willy Wonka vibe there. This is where they could have used the UI windows they had in the beginning. Yeah, definitely. And just kind of overlaid them on top of each other. I think that would have worked well, you know. Okay. I don't mind you showing the logo here 3 times, but I think you're missing an opportunity here to show us the logo kind of in context. So you know, show us what it looks like. You know, you've shown us what it looks like. Where did it go? On the website there. You've shown us what it looks like on the poster. Show us what it looks like, you know, when it's on a building of some sort. You know what I mean? And so I think you missed an opportunity here to provide us with like some additional mock-ups so we could get a better sense of feel like for the brand there. So yeah, I would say this entire page could literally just be different, the mock-up just kind of like superimposed on different things. Like maybe you have the front of a building that the logo is on, and then you've got like let's say maybe like a coaster or something, you know. Maybe it's on like a printed, like a lanyard or something like that, or you know, maybe it's a pattern within a notebook or something. So yeah, give us some context there. Okay. I think these are all sort of like close-up images of like the poster. So I think here you could get away with just having 2 images, one that's a close-up of the poster, and then another one that's just kind of like that helps and captures the scenery around it, you know. What does the space look like where I would see this poster at, you know? I don't get much by seeing that it's just that it's laying on some turf, or you know, that it's kind of like within, you know, laying on this rock, you know, like on a beach or something, you know. I want to see it sort of zoomed out, you know, within the space there. So if anything, I would say, you know, maybe keep this one. It looks like you maybe shot this one on your own. I would say keep a close-up like similar to this, and then do another poster mock-up that's just kind of like, you know, like captures like a little more scenery surrounding the poster, so I can get an idea of like where this would be at. Okay. All right. I would say, me personally, I would omit this one. You know, you've got 14 or 15 projects within your portfolio. I think this is one that you can get away with omitting. You know, as far as graphic design, like, I think we all know that sort of rubber hose, sort of cartoon character, sort of design, sort of look, you know, is there's a lot of it out there. And so for your portfolio, I think, you know, keep your portfolio reserved for work that that's like unique to you. You know, your portfolio should speak to work that you like really enjoyed doing, you know, because whenever I printed my got my portfolio printed in, you know, just kind of book format, I'd take it with me to like different, like whenever I had an interview, I'd take it with me and I just walk them through the book. We just all look through the book and I just kind of point out projects and just kind of talk about each one. If you have this within your portfolio and, you know, you've got a lot to say about this project, then definitely keep it in, you know. But if this is just a design that you whipped up, you know, and you were just like, oh, this is cool, you know, you don't want to get into an interview and they ask you about this specific design and they say, oh, did you design the character? You know, they want to know how you went about designing it and whatnot, and you can speak to that, then I think, yeah, keep it in. But me personally, I think that like there's so many sort of like even asset packs and stuff out there, you know, that where you can just kind of download, you know, this little dude here and just slap it onto a t-shirt. You don't want them to think that that's what you're doing within your projects. And maybe you didn't do that here. I saw, you know, in the intro you had you know, that illustration style there that was really unique. Like I like this a lot. Like I think if you can replace this project here with something that's not in that like rubber hose sort of graphic style, because you don't want them to start, you don't want potential hiring managers to look at you and say, oh, you know, yeah, they're obviously following the trend and doing the rubber hose thing. And, you know, although it may look cool, you know, you don't want them, you want to include projects that really stand out to you. And based off of this illustration here, like, I think you could whip up something way cooler. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I say omit this one. Whip up something better than this. Like, if you want to get into merch design or designing t-shirts or something, like, I'd say replace this one, because yeah, you don't want it to look like you're out here just doing, like, you know, just following the trend, doing the sort of rubber hose sort of character sort of style, you know. Cyber Sensei says, man, I'm really gonna have to level up my portfolio after hearing all of this, especially that print point. Never thought of having to print it out at some point and what that looked like. Oh, whoa, what did we just happened there? Yeah, I'm just and these are all, you know, obviously, you know, I'm just a dude, you know, on the internet, just providing an opinion, you know what I mean? So obviously take what I say with a grain of salt, as with anybody that provides you feedback on your work. You know, I'm gonna say some things you might agree with, I'm gonna say some things you might not agree with, but you know, hopefully, you know, there's something that you can get out of me providing feedback from the work here, and, you know, you can kind of take that back to, you know, use it to improve your work. Yeah, everything that I say isn't gonna be gold, you know what I'm saying? So take it with a grain of salt for sure. But all right, let's move on to some cover artwork here. All right, Fallen Angel. All right, I want to go back to the previous. Yeah, let's do it like this. Okay. Okay. I think with the way design is going currently, and like I like this, I like this design a lot. Like I really like this cover art here. um I think it's solid. it, but the problem is I've seen stuff like this before. And so if you're gonna include something like this within your portfolio, I would say expand on it a little bit, you know. Show me that you can do more than just design the cover for this album cover here, you know. I want to see you do a complete like rollout, like design the cover, you know. And then let's see, so it's a vinyl cover. Like show me the cover, show me the track list there, show me like, you know, the little, like design the little paper, you know, that pulls out along with the sleeve for the vinyl, you know. Maybe design like the actual vinyl itself. Show me some social media like posts, show me some social media story posts. I want to see you do an entire sort of rollout for this sort of album cover art here. I think that's going to be way more helpful, and I think it's going to help pull this cover art together a little bit better than it would if you were just showing the cover art here. You know, it shows me that you can think about how the design translates across various mediums, and you know, it shows me that you know how to take that design and make it adapt. And I think that's going to be far more important than you know, just showing the sort of the nice sort of cover, the cover art here, along with like a nice sort of mock-up that you have. Show me you can actually, you know, build out the entire system for what this rollout is. I think that's far more useful, or it's going to be far more useful in the long run, especially with the way design is going now. You know, a lot of stuff is changing. You know, so your job is going to be not only to make this cover art, you know, which, you know, we're getting to a point to where AI can just whip something up like this for you. You know, I want to see that you have the kind of idea, the kind of thinking that can create something that's an entire ecosystem. You know, show me you've made the assets, elements, you know, like if, you know, you're gonna take this album and, you know, they're going on a tour or something, or this is an album releasing before the tour, like show me what it looks like to design the tour flyer. Like I want to see all of the assets. If you're gonna do like an album cover within your portfolio, like really expand on the ecosystem for that album cover art, and kind of just like show me a little bit more. I'll stop rambling on this one. I'm kind of going on a tangent there. I could go on and on with this stuff. Okay, let's see. Edition, edit. Okay, got brochure here. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, hey, you're the dude that I've seen for years now, and I've always trusted the quality of your work, so I'm listening to all of this. Man, I appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. Okay. I think this is another one of those projects that you could get away with omitting. Like this shows me that, like, yeah, this shows me that you can do brochure design, but it kind of looks templated. And coming from someone who who like uses Adobe Express, and like I have a few clients that prefer Canva, and I have clients that I've done design work for using solely Photoshop and Illustrator, and what I make using Photoshop and Illustrator always looks different than what I make for them using Canva, because they like to take what I design and sort of like you know, maybe I'm designing something for them and it's like a certificate or something like that, so they just need me to create a template, and so that they can go in, replace the title or replace the name, and then, you know, print it off or whatever. So I've done like a lot of templated design work like for my clients and stuff using Adobe Express, using Canva and stuff like that. And so coming from someone who makes templates, this looks templated. So for that sole reason, I would say get rid of this or revamp it to like make it look a little bit, to make it stand out a little more, because I think you've got like some good pieces in your portfolio. I think you've got some strong pieces in your portfolio, and I think if you want to keep this one around, you definitely should revamp it. But yeah, I'd say get rid of this one. Okay. And I've scrolled on this one a few times. I think this is one of your best projects here, simply because of the mock-ups. Simply because of the mock-ups you've chosen. Like, this has a good feel. This has like a sense of quality to it that some of the other sort of projects don't, just simply because of the mock-ups that you've chosen to work with and how you presented sort of you know, I can see a sort of consistency as far as the branding across. You know, you've got like the poster here, you've got the billboard here, you have the billboard here. So I can see consistency within the branding, as well as, you know, the sort of imagery that you, or the mock-ups that you've chosen. I do want to see more with this one though. I need more context. I need to know what it's for. Yeah, I think I don't really know what it's for exactly, so it's hard to provide you with like additional insight as to what you could implement for this project to make it feel, to like round it out a bit. But this one is headed towards the right direction. I think you need a blurb of copy for sure to kind of explain the project, but I like what I'm seeing right here. I think more of this, and definitely expand on this project a little bit and bring it closer to the front of your portfolio, because I think this one is one of the stronger pieces that you have. Okay, then we got posters here. Okay, and for the posters, let's see. For the posters, I think if you're going to include posters, instead of showing all the posters that you've done, I would say do a series. Like these all have a similar vibe to them, kinda. You know, with like the elements, like the small sort of like micro elements. I think it would be way more powerful within your portfolio to just do a series of maybe like 3. And I really like this one. I think these are the strongest pieces within the posters section for your portfolio. I'm gonna say this because I've done sort of a rap posters like series. I think if you did sort of like 2 more posters like this in a series, and same bubble typeface, just sort of similar posters like this one but different rap artists maybe, I think that would be better than just kind of showing all of the posters that you've done or some of your favorite posters. And you could even take it a step further and make this a series for, maybe this is actually a poster series for like Odd Future, you know what I mean? And you've got your Tyler poster here. Maybe rework this to where it's like an Odd Future collab, like with Converse or something like that. And so you've got Tyler here, show Tyler, maybe just throw an image of like some Converse in there that that you whipped up, that just has like some Odd Future branding on it, or Tyler the Creator branding on it. Turn that into a series, and I think you've sort of reworked the idea behind this poster into an ad campaign, which would look better up in your portfolio. And so yeah, I definitely say try something like that as opposed to just showing your posters here. I think this stuff would be good on like a website if you're just showing like, oh, here's the archives, like these are the archives, here's all of my personal work. I think that's fun for like someone coming to your hold up, sorry, the music started jamming in my ear. I think this is good for an archive section, would be good for someone that's already combed through like your portfolio work and whatnot. They've seen the standout projects and they're like, oh yeah, I'm kind of curious as to what they do in their personal time, or what they do with personal projects, or just what they didn't include, and so I think you could kind of work this stuff into an archives section or personal projects section on a website. And so yeah, overall though, really solid portfolio. Really solid. I say just simplify it, a little bit. I'm not gonna be able to recall all the feedback that I just gave you on that, because I feel like it was a good little bit. But yeah, really do hope you got something out of that. But solid work. And that illustration there is standout. So let's see. Yeah. I think it was on page. Yeah. More of this. I think your illustrations skills should shine throughout this entire portfolio, not just on the About Me section. So let's see more of this for sure. It seems like this is something that you enjoy doing. So yeah, definitely let the illustration skills shine through. But all right, so let's move on. Let's move on to the next. Now we got Kel Slovenia. Okay. Got their portfolio on Canva. Let's close out of these here. All right. Okay. Well, what is happening there? Okay. Looks like they want me to log in. Let's see. Okay. I think we're good here. Okay. We've got Kelsey. Okay. Design and user experience portfolio. Okay, I'm a versatile design consultant of 4 years with expertise in graphic design, product design, illustration, photography, video, and audio production. Skilled in crafting innovative user-centered solutions across multiple media, blending creativity with strategic thinking to deliver impactful results tailored to client needs. Okay. Work, budget, Bloom, financial tracking app. Okay. Okay. All right, at initial glance, you've given us two descriptions here. You gotta pick one of these. Let's see. So for your title, you said design and user experience. And then here you say, I'm a UI designer specializing in creating intuitive user-centered interfaces. And then here you say, I'm a versatile design consultant of 4 years with expertise in graphic design, product design, illustration, photography, video, and audio production. That is a mouthful. And I will say, a company that's looking for a graphic designer, or you're gonna be the only graphic designer, they're gonna eat this up. They're gonna love this. But I will say, those will be the gigs that are really gonna work you and like test your patience. So I would think twice when including, all of these skills, because when you say all of this, you need to make sure that you can deliver on all of this. Like, you can't say I'm a graphic design, I do graphic design, product design, illustration, and photography, and be really nice at graphic design and then be subpar at photography. I think hone in on which one of these you want to do, and just lock in on that, make that your primary thing, and then just say something like, with a little bit of illustration, or I'm a graphic designer focusing in package design with some knowledge of UI design, something like that. Just make it simpler, but you don't want to promise that you can do all of this stuff, because they're going to expect that from you. And that's how you get into a job where that you end up kind of disliking over time. And so I would say hone in on just one or two things. You don't want to say you can do all of this stuff and then you're doing too much with you're promising them too much. Just lock in on a few things. I promise it'll be way better in the long run. And you can say I'm a general designer, and that you dabble in some of these things, but be mindful about what you list here, because they're gonna expect that from you, and they're gonna expect you to be extremely good at it too. That's why you always hear designers complaining about job descriptions, and they're looking for somebody that can do all of these things. It's because us designers do stuff like this, and we make potential hiring managers think like, oh, okay, a graphic designer that can actually do all of this stuff. We can probably find that, you know what I mean? Because we're telling it to them in our bio and whatnot, and so they expect stuff like this from us. But yeah, I'm rambling. Let me keep going. So work, user interface design. Okay. You got your graphic design stuff here. Okay. Then you got your illustration work. Okay. Oh, this is really cool. Did you illustrate that there? That's nice. Oh, okay. No, this is photography actually. Okay. Work with me. Okay. Okay. Illustration here. Okay. Just something that the first thing that comes to mind when I see your illustrations is very anime inspired. I think instead of just having I don't know if this is actual client work that you've done. If so, really dope if this is actual client work. Like if you can find let me see. Well, if this is personal, if this is client work, dope. I kind of would like to know like who those clients are, you know, talk about the clients a little bit. Maybe separate out the illustrations, you know, so that you can kind of speak to each project. But if this is just personal work that you've done, still cool. But I think a way that you could kind of make this sort of illustration section a little more interesting is if you did like if you did like a few, if you did like personal work, but like let's say you're doing some personal work, but make it like have some intent behind the personal work. So you know, maybe you're doing like an illustration for like a streamer or something like that, you know, somebody like Dante or somebody like that, or like a Kai Cenat, you know what I'm saying? I think audience like that would eat this up, like this illustration style. Like if you can sort of create illustrations for reputable people and just make that sort of your sort of personal work, you know, but also in a way it's like you're doing it for a client, you know what I mean? Like you can kind of mask it as like a client project. If it's for, you know, somebody, a brand that has a following of some sort. And so I think if you could kind of do some illustrations, like let's say you're just doing like, you know, maybe like an in-stream sort of bumper for like someone like Dante or something, just in this style here. Or maybe it's for, you know, a group like RDC or somebody, you know what I mean? I think that would play to your style like very nice, because you know I know RDC like they have this sort of like anime sort of culture around their brand, and if you were to just kind of illustrate each one of those dudes, you know, and sort of create maybe like an in-stream graphic or like a stream starting soon graphic with your illustration style, I think that would be a really nice way that you could kind of bridge the gap between what's your illustration style, what's personal work, and then what's client work here. If that, I hope that makes sense. But yeah, I think there's a lot of opportunity here with your illustration work. So okay, let's go into photography here. Okay, I would omit your photography here. I think instead of saying something like photography, like you know, when I think photography, I'm thinking like, oh, you're controlling like the lighting, you know, you're not out and about, you know, sort of just capturing, just sort of, you know, just capturing images with your, well, let me rephrase this actually, because this is, I think this would be better suited under like social media, like content creation, than photography. Because with content creation, um, it's better to capture this sort of like organic sort of a look within photos and stuff. But when I think of photography, I'm thinking studio lighting. You have experience with different cameras and stuff. Like this just looks like you just shot it on your iPhone, So I think it would be better if you lean more towards the idea of like, oh, like I capture social media content, and then sort of had these images in sort of a layout that sort of lean towards that as well. So maybe instead of you saying photography, you say, okay, I do social media content creation or something like that. But maybe you redesign the Instagram feed for like for some sort of brand or something, and then you just put a lot of you just kind of curated the feed and like created this sort of like organic sort of went out, captured photos, or like curated sort of images from Unsplash or something like that, and then just kind of designed some stuff, and then just kind of fit organic sort of images in that you captured with your iPhone, like in between all of that stuff. I think that would be better than just saying photography, and I think it would lean more towards it would relate a little bit more to like illustration and graphic design, because if you're curating the feed and you say I do social media content, then that's a way that you get to kind of use all of those skills. And so if you're curating the feed, you can show a little bit of your illustration style, how your illustration style would translate into curating the Instagram feed for like a reputable brand of some sort. Or you could kind of show like your graphic design work, show off what it would look like if you designed an actual post or something. So I think about reworking this section here. I think you could get away with doing like a social media content creation or social media like strategy or something like that. And so and I think it would align a little bit better with your description there. So let's see. Okay. For this project, I would definitely say you got to show some more like you got to show some more like frames, like if we're talking user interface design, like show me, I need to see frames for like pretty much the entire process here. What does it look like, what does the navigation look like within this hamburger menu here? If I click on checkout, what does the checkout look like? And is this the icon for the application here? I think you just kind of need to work on this section a little bit more. I think this is too bare bones to be user interface design. Like I've got to see like a few more frames. I need to see some wireframing here. Yeah. I think for your graphic design work, I think this is some of your best stuff that you have here. I would say break these out into individual projects, and and kind of talk a little bit about each one of them. Is this a flyer for like a show or something like that? Talk about who that was for, or is this personal work? If this is personal work, then I would find a way to revamp it for a reputable brand of some sort. And I think this is cool. Same goes for this, and then this as well. I say break these out into individual projects, but yeah. Yeah, like yeah, I want to see, if you do UI design, like I want to see this project, whatever this project is. Show me all the frames for this project here. And I think you could, if you show me all the frames for this project, I think you can get away with omitting this one, because I think just looks wise, just visually, this looks way more complete than this one does. So I would completely remove this one and expand on this one a little bit. And so yeah. All right, thanks for submitting, Kelsey. Let's jump into the next one here. And so next up we have Ben. Yeah. All right. Ooh, okay. Okay, I like that little mouse tracking sort of thing there. It's cool. Okay. Okay. Cyber Sensei says reactive sites are so dope. Sick to see it applied in portfolio form. Okay, I studied a bachelor's in graphic design and web development, and I'm currently pursuing a master's in interaction design, where I'm creating experiences that aren't just functional but also leave a great impression. Here are some of my design beliefs. I'm always excited to dive into creative work and create more substance with less noise. This website was built from scratch by hand. Ooh, okay, I see you. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay. Okay, he's okay. He's cooking. All right. I was looking for some indicators of Squarespace or WordPress, but nah, he's cooking. Okay. I see you, my boy. All right, let's get into some of these projects here. So we got digital design, graphic design, user experience design. Okay. Selected projects. Okay, so that's home, that's about, which takes me down there. Okay. Contact. Okay. What's this here? Is it just okay, just a fun little thing to mess around with? Okay, got some crazy animation right there. Okay, and All right. SunGuard was a project focused on creating a brand identity for a fictional company tucked away in the heart of the countryside. SunGuard is more than just a retreat, it's a lifestyle. Unplug from the noise and embrace a slower, more intentional pace surrounded by lush fields and ancient trees. Okay. Okay. You got to give me a black and white version here. The stems of the logo here kind of start to, they start to mesh with the background there. So give me a black and white version of what this would look like. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is solid. I would say within the wording, within your about section for this project here, you got to tell me a little bit more about what SunGuard is. You tell me SunGuard was a project focused on creating a brand identity for a fictional company, but you don't ever get into what the fictional company is. So I just revised this a little bit to just be clear and concise and just say SunGuard is a let me see here. Okay, SunGuard is a retreat. It's a lifestyle. Unplug from the noise. Okay. I would say make this a little bit more apparent, because what SunGuard is gets lost a little bit within the wording here. Okay, SunGuard is a retreat. SunGuard is a countryside retreat tucked away in the heart of, maybe tell me the location, maybe it's in Mississippi or something like that, and tell me who it's for. Yeah, let's keep going. Okay, this is a magazine spread. Okay. Okay. These images are really nice. This mood board is nice. Okay, if this is a retreat, I would like to see. Let's see. I think this is a good, if this is a retreat and it's sort of remote, I think you're missing some some deliverables here. How do people find out about this? I want to see what it looks like across social media, on a billboard. Maybe it's a billboard on the side of a highway or something, or what does the wording look like for that? What is the if it's a lifestyle, you know, what does the brand voice look like there, or what does it sound like? I think these images are helping a lot. um I definitely get a vibe with the images, but not so much with like the wording. You don't have a lot of like, I need to see some ads here. What do magazine ads look like? What magazine would a brand like this reside in? Maybe it's like a country magazine, country music magazine or something like that. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's this is solid though. Um, overall, very solid. I just like to see a few more deliverables. Like, how do these images get used across socials, across ads, across billboards and stuff like that? And you incorporate some more of that stuff. I think you've got something nice with this one. You just kind of need to expand on it a little bit, but yeah, that one's solid. Okay, Groove Haven. The design of the icon set draws inspiration from the eclectic and vibrant persona of Nardwuar, the human. Okay. Just like Nardwuar's interviews. Okay, I got you. We're actually talking about the same Nardwuar here. The icons are quirky, detailed, and full of unexpected flair, capturing the essence of his unique style. Imagine a hypothetical record studio owned by Nardwuar called Groove Haven. Each corner would be a treasure trove of rare vinyl, obscure memorabilia, and surprising artifacts from music history. These icons could be used there. Okay, I see you. Grim says, yo, Swoop. This is season. Okay, good. What's good, my boy? What's good? Where do I submit my portfolio? Yep, Discord. Yep. It's in there's a thread attached to the chat channel. So yeah, you can use that to submit. Okay, these are inspired by Nardwuar. So we're imagining if Nardwuar had his own sort of vinyl, his own sort of a vinyl record shop. Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, these are nice. Oh, these are super dope. Little Illustrator Ruffin tool magic going on there. Okay. I like the icon set. Oh, whoops, sorry. But give me some context as far as like or not context, but include some imagery. Maybe show like Nardwuar here. You know what I mean? Find some nice photographic images of Nardwuar kind of doing his thing. You know what I mean? Find like some mock-ups for vinyl record stores or whatever, and just kind of start to work these icons in where they would be seen within the vinyl store, within the record store. And what does the branding for Groove Haven look like when paired with Nardwuar? If this is something that's owned by Nardwuar, I would expect that at some point, the branding would collide of, Nardwuar's, how he has like the little cartoon character or whatever wearing like the little the plaid hat sort of thing that he has. I think I'm remembering that correctly. How does that look like when it's next to the Groove Haven sort of logo and stuff here? So I think you could expand on this project a little bit to kind of show what it would look like when the two brands sort of collide. And I think that, that would be a good opportunity. One of my clients, they partner with other brands like frequently, and so a lot of times I've had to take their brand identity and the brand identity of another brand, that may only have a logo and they might not have as much to go off of as far as like brand guidelines and stuff. But I've got to figure out a way to merge the two, so that they can both kind of share whatever it is I'm creating across their social channels, whether that be through Instagram or like, maybe it's on the side of a building or something. I think there's a good opportunity here to showcase that. Okay, yeah, if you're working with Nike or somebody and they want to pull you in to do like to kind of, or they want to work with you to do like some graphics for somebody like LeBron or like Kevin Durant or something, you know what I mean? This is a good opportunity to showcase that you can take two brands and sort of merge the identities and make them feel like one, while also kind of retaining their own sort of look and feel. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. But yeah, I would say expand on this one a little bit. I want to see more of, what this and Nardwuar's existing sort of brand would look like when merged together. I think there's a good opportunity here for to show your skills for doing something like that. But yeah, solid work. Let's move on to the next one here. Okay, so Vitaloom. Okay. This is the clean, streamlined platform that makes nutrition and training as chill as your favorite playlist. Figuring out what to eat, how to move, we got you. Vitaloom's sleek, intuitive vibes make it easy to get results without the overwhelm. Think of us as your digital co-pilot for fitness and nutrition, built for the casual crew who just want to feel good and do better. Credit and rights for the icons go to the Noun Project. Okay. 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 Good job showing the screens here. Okay. Okay. I think for this project, showing us what this would look like sort of in action would be really helpful, especially for like hiring managers. Like, good job on sort of walking us through sort of all of the frames here and what this would look like. But I think if you want to take it a step further, like walk us through, like the series of events, within sort of a motion graphic of some sort, when someone clicks continue, what happens, and someone clicks let's go, like does it then take me to these screens? And let's see. Okay. And also let's see here. second. All right. And also for develop some consistency around the buttons here. You know, I don't think you want your button to stack like this. Yeah, so try and avoid this. And you know, this little thumbs up here, is this like, you know, is this like an animation that pops up after a user does something? Like I kind of need to know what that does there. But yeah, as far as the project itself, I think maybe work on the layout a little bit. I think it's very text heavy. I think you kind of need to implement, you know, some more, you know, like you know, create some modules around this stuff. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna show me ingredients, don't just list them out. You know, show me ingredients, but then like maybe this should have an entire section here, you know. And for the exercises, like I think you can sort of expand on the sections here. Yeah, I think the project itself needs a little bit of work, but I think with the way it is, with as it stands currently, I think there are, you know, I think one way of making the project better would just to be like show us what it looks like in motion, you know, as people are clicking through this. But the project itself could definitely use a little bit of work. But yeah, solid stuff though. Thank you for submitting. And that was Ben. Yeah. Okay. Next we've got Sydney. And Sydney says, I've gotten some feedback on this portfolio before, but I've added new stuff and moved things around. So I'd like to hear if your thoughts have changed. All right, let's check it out. All right, yeah, I think I was speaking to Sydney's portfolio earlier when I was referencing, when I was talking, I think it was about Talia's portfolio. I can't recall, but yeah, let's check it out. Let's check it out here. Okay. Okay, we got a cat model here, Harry Styles poster. Okay. All right, let's just click through a few of these. If you're in here, Sydney, are you able to tell me which what you updated as far as the portfolio? I think I remember, but I can't recall exactly what it looked like previously. So okay, got the Tequila Mockingbird here. Okay. Okay, this is nice. I like how you have this, although you have this section that says, you know, these are my logos. I like how you've now placed them in this sort of like carousel look. Okay. Okay. I think this I think this layout works. I would say what you're doing for these sections here, definitely say do that for these two as well. You know, even if you've got to kind of go back into the archives and kind of dig some of this stuff up. Definitely do what you're doing here with these as well. And if you can, in between each one of these sections, like if you just had like a title that just said like, you know, Tequila Mockingbird, and then maybe you had like a short blurb just kind of talking about this a little bit, I think that would help. Just in between like each of the projects here, you know, just have the Rainbow Rat, and then you've got like a little description for each one. I think that would be nice. So yeah, the layout for this one, is working. Yeah, so good work with that stuff there. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Now we're in the social media section. Okay. Okay, nice. Okay. Nice. Okay, nice. My only thing with this project, I would choose different typefaces for this. But overall, what you have is nice. But if we're talking about, you know, script typefaces, don't let my opinion sway you, because I will steer you more towards like the sans serif direction. But as far as what you have, I think it's solid. But I would choose a different typeface. This is a little hard to read. Like, just for me personally, it's just a little hard to read. But I do like the colors though. Okay. Okay. Let me give this one last look. Okay, solid. This is solid. Okay. Okay, cool. Okay. I think you can get away with omitting this one. I think this one is I feel like these projects are fairly similar. I think this one shows your personality a little bit more. Whereas this one feels like a little too simple. I would remove that one and keep this one. This one is nice. And I'm guessing these are all, this is just sort of, these are all like social media posts. So yeah, solid. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, my takeaway from this whole stream so far is to basically show and tell people what the design is for and its use cases. All right. Yeah, you've gotta explain. You can't assume, don't assume that, you know, someone looking at your portfolio is gonna, you know, understand certain aspects of it, you know, or someone looking at a project is gonna just immediately understand. Because you as the designer, you've been working on this stuff for so long, you know, you start to inherently just, you know, you just know why you made specific decisions, like the thought process behind it, you know. So you know, within your portfolio, like, try and really spell things out for people, you know. You know, but do it in a way that's simple, you know. Okay. Logical buildings. Okay, and industry leading sustainability, smart building, and virtual power plant software and solutions provider for the built world. Okay. Okay, and these are just like some little social posts. Okay. That's funny. Oh, you forgot like a little space right there. Save is covering it up, but in between grid and rewards, add a little space right there. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. All right, next we got some posters here. Cyber Sensei says, would you say the same for people working on a commission basis instead of trying to get hired by a brand? Say the same for, what do you mean? You got to remind me of what I said that you're speaking to, because I'm saying a lot here and I'm like, my memory is not the best. Okay, in terms of showing and telling aspect. Yeah, if you're working on a commission basis, like, definitely I think it's the same, you know, especially if you're doing like a logo, you know, you want to break down, you know, the process, you know, the reason specific design decisions were made, you know, because yeah, you want to highlight, especially for commissions, you want to highlight that entire process pretty much, you know. Your case study should, you know, show kind of, you know, what that back and forth sort of looks like. If it's a logo design, you know, maybe start off with I can show one of the things that I've done here, and not to say that you know my work is like amazing by any means, but I think this will give you a good idea of kind of what I'm thinking. So let me just pull up my So here's my work. Here's a project that I recently did, and it was a logo design. And so here I kind of break down who Ord Sports Legacy is, why they reached out, uh, to me, what they do, what they wanted the logo to be, you know, and then I talk about some of the background behind the brand that they gave me. Then I sort of move into some concepts that I propose for them, and these are just sort of directions. Do you want it to be simplistic, abstract? Do you want it to look modern, pictorial? Then I kind of go into their thoughts behind sort of these sort of concepts and ideas, and then after reviewing what notes they had, look, based on their feedback, we lean more towards a modern pictorial DNA mark featuring a simple yet instantly recognizable representation of a DNA strand, because a lot of what they said was, oh, we want it to be memorable, we want people to easily be able to draw it, we want it to look like Nike. These are common things that whenever I met with them or whenever I spoke with them that they mentioned. And then down here I get into actually sort of pitching some concepts and ideas, and then I talk about the feedback process again, and then I talk about ultimately what they landed up on, in some additional sort of directions that we explored once they kind of decided they like this shape. We explored like, what does it look like when we take that shape and sort of make it a little more interesting, which they ultimately ended up landing on this one that you see here. But you want to kind of like highlight that process a little bit, especially if it's like if it's commission work, because you want to give people an idea of what they can expect when they work with you. Especially for commission work, the same process. But with a portfolio, I think you can definitely get away with like not having as much of that stuff, and just kind of highlighting like, oh, here's what I did for them, But if it's a commission, I definitely say you probably want to expand a little bit more than you normally would. And so sorry to go on a little tangent. Let's keep talking about Sydney's work here. And so we got some poster designs. Okay. Okay. And to go back to that sort of like archives idea, I think this would be a good page to do that if you want to just like use a posters sort of section, and not sort of full standout posters, and just kind of give them their own project. If you want to have like just this poster section, I think let's see. I think this is solid for just the poster section that you have. I like how this poster is sort of like is sort of featured in a way. It's sort of like the featured poster that you have. I think you could get away with sort of maybe having 2 featured posters here, and then just doing sort of like a grid. Like I like how you have like all of these on the same row. I'd add a little bit of additional padding in between each poster, so that because it's hard right now. Like it's hard to look at one poster without noticing the other. So I think add a little bit of white space in between them so I can kind of focus on these individually a little bit. But I think this is nice how you have like the initial sort of featured section here, and then you sort of go into this grid. I wouldn't add the featured section back in. I don't know if this is all like one poster here, but I would say have the featured section and then, you know, image, 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 and then just kind of keep going with this sort of grid, you know. But overall, those are solid. I can tell that you revamped this page here, and it's looking pretty solid. So let's keep going. Okay. That's funny. Okay. Okay. Nice. Okay. I think this is a nice style. These have a nice feel to them. I would add these a little closer to the top actually. I think this is nice also. Oh, I think did we look at the branding section? Oh, we looked at the logo section that had this included in it. Okay. Okay. Very simple. I think you could easily expand on this one with just like, you know, maybe taking the pattern here, throwing it on a bag or something, or taking the little rock dude and just throwing him on a bag. You know, just providing some additional kind of stuff here. This is cool though. A production company, okay. Okay, email campaign blast, okay. And forgive me if I'm speeding through these a little bit. Okay. Not many thoughts on that one. Let me kind of look through these. Like this one. Like the presentation of this one. I like how you gave the black and white version of this one also. Nice, okay. Yeah, this is cool. This is a cool project. Okay. Okay, I remember this one. Was this for? I think this was for one of the design challenges we did, maybe. Okay. Okay, I noticed this project somewhere else also. I would eliminate that crossover, you know, either this this project sort of has its own web page, or has its own sort of a project, sort of a bucket, or it lives within a different one. I'd try and eliminate the crossover that you have there. Okay. Okay, nice. I'd make this all the same sort of background color, so that and eliminate the white in between those right there, in between the social graphics right there also. Just to make it flow a little bit better, but solid. This is solid work. Okay, solid. Okay. Okay, this looks like it's supposed to be like a poster sort of mock-up, and this looks like it's supposed to be like a business card. I'd say this still feels like a business card, so maybe if you can incorporate like a few more elements within the poster to kind of make them feel different, maybe even show like this is the back, and then show what it looks like as the for the front of the business card too, just to kind of separate these a little bit. But okay, solid. Okay, nice. Okay, we saw this in the branding section. Okay. 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 Okay, cool. Yeah, I would, yeah, just eliminate that crossover. Like if these projects, if you don't have enough to sort of make these projects like enough context to kind of turn these projects into like case studies of some sort, then I'd say kind of remove the individual projects and then pull them under the bucket of your branding or your logo section there, because I think what you had there under branding section, the branding section was looking good. All right, solid. Thanks for submitting, Sydney. All right, let's all right, next we got Cyber Sensei. All right, let's get rid of this stuff here. Dig the intro. Dig the splash page here. I see a little Adult Swim sort of inspo within there, so I'm a fan. All right, that's kind of nice that your entered takes you straight to the About Me section. That's kind of nice. Okay, I love coming up with fun ideas and being able to bring them to life while still learning new techniques and tools in the process. Whether it's designing highly stylized black and white artwork or colorful grunge graphics, I enjoy the learning and creative process of it all. Come along on this artistic journey with me as I keep exploring, learning, and crafting visuals that speak volumes. Okay. Nice. Just off the jump, this is dope. I like that. Like, what would you call this? Like, I think it's like sigilism or some sort. Sigilism, like inspired logo. I dig that. Just within your "Who am I" section, off the jump, you gotta be strategic in where you say, like things like this, like while still learning new techniques and tools in the process, and saying that like come along with this come along on this artistic journey with me as I keep exploring and learning. Um, companies will kind of like try and I'm just speaking from personal experience here. I think it's fine to have, to say within your about me that you like learning new techniques and stuff. But companies will try and use stuff like that against you as a way to kind of like lowball you for like offers, like job offers and stuff like that. Especially if you're like, oh, I'm here to learn, oh, I want to be somewhere, where I can learn from the rest of the team, like stuff like that. All of that stuff is good, but just kind of be mindful that, brands will try and, or companies will try and use wording like that, like as a way to lowball you. If anything, it's an indicator that, oh, okay, okay, you're still learning. Well, you're still sort of new at this, So think about your placement of like where you're saying that. And definitely maybe you remove it from your about me here and then just add it in for specific projects, and say like, oh, for this project I was experimenting with this, I recently learned about this style and just kind of wanted to take a stab at it. I think something like that is cool. But you don't want to give people or potential hiring managers the assumption that you're still learning, even though as a graphic designer you never stop learning. Like there's always going to be new tools coming out, there's always going to be new stuff coming out. But yeah, just remember that and just kind of be mindful in when and where you say stuff like that. All right, so let's continue into the work here. Okay, cyber sigilism. Okay, cool. Ruby X says awesome portfolio interface. Cyber Sensei says didn't even think about that. You're definitely right on that. I see, just not putting it up front, but still letting people know that I'm learning things with each project. Got it. Yeah, exactly. So all right, so you got your work down here. Okay, let's see. And can I click into any of these? Okay, that's fine. Okay. Okay. If this is client work, I think it would be really useful. I think what you have here is good for like we've talked about it before, of like an archive page of just like all of your work, all of your experimentation and stuff like that, just anything you've designed, from client work to personal work. I think this is dope. I think what you could do is turn something like this into an archive page of some sort, and then have like and like you don't have to do this. I'm just providing you with ideas here. But if this was an archive page that just kind of had just continuous just running of just like running list of all of your design work and stuff that people could just scroll through, or even just pull up the lightbox here and just kind of go like this. Awesome. I think that works. But if you just had maybe like 4 or 5 standout projects for like a portfolio page that kind of went into depth about the process a little bit, I think that would help a lot. Like even if you just kind of had like even if you talked about what the client wanted specifically, like maybe show some designs that didn't get accepted, or show initial designs and concepts, talk about the things that you and the client discussed for those initial drafts and ideas, and then kind of outline how you revamp those designs to land on the final piece. I think that would be good for like a few standout projects, if you could just have something like that, even like a little like even like a little like time lapse of you like working on the design and whatnot, I think would be really helpful, you know, for a case study of some sort. So like this one, I think is like layout wise, like I think this one's really dope. I think this could be a standout piece for sure. I think this could also be a nice standout piece. Okay. This is my eye is drawn to this one also. This one is dope. Yeah, I say keep like this sort of page here, but maybe like pick and pull, you know, like a few that you can just kind of expand on a little bit and provide additional insight. You know, doesn't have to be a lot. It can literally be like, you know, maybe 3 or 4 projects, but you have really in-depth like kind of case studies to kind of help potential clients visualize or like envision, you know, working with you, like what it's like to work with you. So yeah, dope stuff though. Everything has like a similar sort of style, so the work overall is cohesive. But nice. Okay, we got pricing here. Okay, so it's a mix of personal and client work. Okay, I think it's fine to keep them together, but just the ones that you like the most, I say pull them out and just kind of like talk about them a little bit. Yep, exactly. Okay, yeah. Let's see here. But the projects that you do decide to create standout projects for, I would say remove those from the sort of from what you currently have, so that you don't have so that you're eliminating crossover. Okay, let's see here. Okay. 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 Fairly simple. Very straightforward as far as the pricing. Instead of saying total project cost may change based on other variables, such as needing different formats for social media, animating, just go ahead and you can, like, I would remove that and just go ahead and create like packages for those. And let me see here. Okay, so let's see, additional services. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's fairly straightforward. Yeah, yeah, I think this is straightforward. You know, this is a decent sales pricing page, pretty much. You know, and this works well. I think every graphic designer, you know, within your portfolio, if you're doing a lot of commission work, I think you should have something like this. so that you're not constantly managing clients and like pitching like from the DMs. If someone reaches out to you and they say, hey, I need like a flyer, or hey, I need like a logo design, you can just send them the link to a web page like this. So yeah, I think this is solid. What I would say that you should do is go ahead and I would remove this and go ahead and work in the cost of those things into like different packages. So maybe you have simple design, but it's a simple design, but also you want different social media formats and you need it animated. Go ahead and work that stuff into different tiers for like a simple design package. Do it for the standard design package and also complex design packages. And then also I would go ahead and you know, if you're charging 50% like upfront, I would go ahead and like you're not working with prices that are like I would say 50% upfront works good for like if you've got a project and it's like 3,000, you know, and you're charging someone like 3,000. I think it's solid for that, you know, 1,500 up front, then 1,500 once it's completed, or even if it's like 1,000, you know, or you know, for you get 500 up front, 500 once it's completed. But you know, like, I'm sorry, but if you got $25, you should have $50. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you don't, there's no need for you to get 25 up front and then do 25 on the back end. You know, 75, half of 75 up front, you know, and then the other half on the back end. I say just collect it all up front. And but if you do collect it all up front, I think let's see here, like down at the bottom you say a standard project will typically take 1 to 4 days to be 14 days to be completed, depending on the package selection. I'd say if I were you, I would remove the 50% up front. I do the entire I do like all of it up front, 50 total, just paid outright. But if you do that, you got to give people some additional security as far as kind of like what the process is going to be like. So I'd maybe outline a little bit, like, you know, if the turnaround time is between 1 and 7 business days, kind of walk them through what it looks like after 2 days. After 2 days, do you have, you know, are you showing like initial sketches? After another 2 days, it being 4 days total, like, are you showing them drafts? And then at 7 days, you know, are you submitting the final project? And then now we kind of go into kind of you know, if you like it, okay, good to go. Send final files, they're sent. But if you don't like it, then we kind of get into revisions, which, you know, you have 2 revisions included. And then, you know, after that, if they want additional revisions, then it's just going to cost a little bit more. But, yeah, hope that helps. Cyber Sensei says, I tried making this as straightforward and clear so people aren't confused as to what they're getting. And, okay, so for example, simple, basic, simple, premium. Exactly. Yeah. I think something like that would help a lot, and would also, you know, now you kind of, because this kind of leaves a little bit of mystery to, you know, as to what those variables are, you know, and if they have an idea, you know, is that included? So you know, you just kind of want to eliminate any room for them to think like, oh, me adding animation to this project might be a little out of my price range. Just you go ahead and list it out for them. I think that would be the best thing to do. So Oh, Cyber Sensei says I did it like that because I've been burnt quite a few times by working without payment up front. I get you though. It should either be all up front or all after. No, 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 not all after. Don't ever do all after. Um, I'd say just straight up, just get collected all up front. Um, yeah, collect it all up front, especially, you know, if the price range here is 50 to like, I think anything below, for you, I think anything below 500 or like anything below like 750 collected up front. But then if you collect it all up front, you should outline the process for them a little bit so they're comfortable with giving you that they're comfortable kind of going ahead and kind of paying that, you know. And so they know that they have milestones that they can kind of look forward to, as opposed to just giving you all the money and then just kind of waiting 2 weeks, you know. So yeah. Grim says how much should the minimum be when you say 50%, when you say 50% up front? I think the minimum's gonna vary. Me personally, I do it all up front. I collect everything up front for anything that's around like 1500. So if it's anything below 1500, like I'm collecting it all up front. And if I can get it all up front, for a project that's like 2K or 3K or something like that, I'll do it. But if it's if they're like, oh yeah, we'd rather not, you know, do it all up front, and it's something that's above 1500, then it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you know, like I can work with you on it. But yeah, for anything below 1500, like I do it all up front. But if you can get it all up front for every project you do, I'd say definitely go that route. Because at the end of the day, you know, you're the designer, you're doing the work, you know, like you can trust yourself to get it done. You can trust yourself that you're not going to scam this client, you know, because you want the reputation, you want to leave your reputation intact, you know. As the designer, the client reaching out to you, you know, and you doing half up front and then half when it's done, who's to say that they don't just take a draft that you sent to them and just run off with the draft? You know what I mean? So like any chance you get, just get it all up front. And then if you get pushed back on it, then, you know, just you know, don't make it a problem for the client if it's like a deal breaker for them. But yeah. But yeah, this is solid. To push some final thoughts on your sales page here, Cyber Sensei. If you could work in sort of if you could work in like a section where people could go ahead and just pay you, that would be awesome. That would be amazing. And you might end up getting more sales that way. It simplifies your process a whole lot more. So now, you know, the same place when people say, hey, I'm looking for some cover art, or hey, I'm looking for a poster design, you can redirect them to this page where they can literally learn everything that they need to know about your process, and they can go ahead and pay you. And now it's just up to you to kind of follow through according to the timeline that you've set for them. And so if you can do all of that stuff on this page, I think you'll be in a good spot. But overall, this is really solid, really solid. And okay, contact me page. Okay, grab a print here. Okay. Okay, nice. Okay, solid stuff. Good work there. All right, now we have Ruby Studios. All right, let's see. Cyber Sensei says, I see what you mean for sure. I have Square payments set up just for that reason. I just have to figure out how to implement it on there. Okay. I mean, I think I don't know if you've ever heard of a Stripe, but Stripe has different sort of Stripe is basically, I believe, like a payment gateway. I use Stripe for for a lot of my stuff. Um I think you could use them and kind of set all of this stuff up. So Stripe, or I mean, even uh I think PayPal has something like that also. Ruby says how many revisions I should go with in a branding or streetwear designs. I mean, revision rounds with clients. Um, because revisions are tricky, because if you set a limit on revisions, you still want to make sure a client is happy. Um, and if you set a limit for revisions, you still want to make sure a client is happy. But if you if you don't set a number of revisions, then there's no telling to how many revisions you'll end up doing. You know what I mean? So I think a good rule of thumb for revisions is um roughly 2 or 3 revisions. Um I think if you limit it to 2 or 3 revisions, uh you might you might stray a little bit outside of that. But let's say, for example, here's something that's worked for me. And so because I've in the past done, like, not set a limit on revisions because I've been like overly confident in a project and like, yeah, I'm gonna get this done, no problem. You know, don't worry about the number of revisions you have. Yeah, I'll get this done, and it ends up it comes back to bite you. So don't do that. Set a limit for revisions, because a lot of the times when you have a client, they're taking the design that you're showing them, and you know, they might show it to like their aunt, their uncle, they might show it to a coworker or something. You want, you know, if you're designing something for a client, you want to limit the amount of opportunities they have to do stuff like that, so that they're more thoughtful with the people that they show the design to, and like the feedback that they give you. If you offer infinite revisions, like, that's how you end up with clients who are saying stuff like, oh, we just want it to pop a little more. Oh, can you combine this logo idea with this? You know, and you'll end up doing so many revisions that you're just like, hey man, I just want to get the project over and done with. Like, let's just wrap this up. And so stick with 2 or 3 revisions. I think that's a good rule of thumb. And I don't know why, I always feel like awkward about charging for additional revisions. But one thing that's helped me, or one thing that I've done to combat that a little bit, is that if you have a client that goes over the amount of revisions that you have, you can always say something like, you know, you always want to remind them where they're at as far as their revisions also. 9 times out of 10, if you do that and you say, okay, hey, like, this is the last revision that we have, so get me all of your feedback by this day. They'll do it, you know. And so 9 times out of 10 you'll be good. But sometimes you'll have a client that's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's just not where it needs to be just yet. Like, can we get one more revision? Um, Go ahead and do it. What I would do is I would go ahead and do it, but this is an opportunity for you to kind of develop some goodwill with that client. And so you can say like, yeah, no problem. Like, just let me know what you want, or let me know what you need. I'll go ahead and get this revision done. And then you can say something at the end of a message like, oh, also, would you mind sort of leaving me a testimonial or something? Like, so in exchange for you doing an additional revision for them, you could have them leave you a testimonial, especially if the project is like almost there. And so, doing something, you'll get way more value out of just getting a testimonial or doing an extra revision for for a testimonial for your client, as opposed to charging them like $25 or something for an extra revision. And so yeah, that's just some little sauce. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you can always just charge them the extra for like the revision, but I like to just kind of like find ways around it, you know. I always feel awkward about charging people for additional revisions. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling there. So let me go back. I missed a bunch of within the chat here. So let's see. So a timeline of what this process would look like. I believe I have that at the bottom of the page. Okay, let me see there. I think I missed that. Okay, yeah, here you go. How this process works. I would bring this verbiage up to the top. This is kind of like your fine print area in a way. So definitely pull that process section out and kind of put it up here. But yeah, that's good. That's good that you've already got that information in there. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, thank you so much for all the feedback, bro. This is definitely going to be super helpful when I go to remake this and remake my website entirely. Anytime, my guy. Grim says, is it a specific code for Stripe to your website, like HTML code? Yeah, I believe Stripe will just generate like a URL that you can just kind of tack on to sort of any text, you know, like within your website or whatever. Then they can just pay you through that. And let's see. Cyber Sensei says you can also do it with like something like Gumroad too. Just set up like a product or something and then just link it to Gumroad. Grim says, I felt that way too. Every time I start a commission, I'm like, this is easy until the creative block hits, and on how specific to the T they want it. Yeah. And sometimes they say they want one thing and then, end up kind of going a completely different direction. Like, yeah. Ruby X says, got it. Noted. Grim says, that's good game. Cyber Sensei says, got it. Will do. All right. We're caught up. All right. Let's move on. I think we were reviewing. Who was it we were reviewing? Okay, we've reviewed Sydney's, then we did Cyber Sensei. Okay, now we're on to Ruby. All right. So let's see here. Ruby Studio. Okay, logo folio. Okay, War Angel. Okay. All right. Let's just open up a few of these. I said, let's open up a few of these, and I'm opening up every single one. Got to make sure y'all get some good feedback, man. All right, logo folio. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I think the presentation of this is solid. Wow, you've got a lot. You got a lot of stuff here. Okay. Okay, you've got a lot of work right there. Okay. Let me just let's go through this one. All right. It would be cool if you had this sort of a type treatment, or this sort of like a word mark here on this page somewhere. Just white, just big and bold, just right there. And watch out for your you got like a widow right here. Also as far as like paragraph width, I think you can kind of reduce the I think you can kind of like reduce this a little bit. Okay. Okay, this section here is nice. I think this stuff here should be closer to the top of the page. And yeah, I think that stuff at the bottom should be at the top somewhere here. I honestly think you could get away with getting rid of some of this stuff too, like I like this sort of I like this. This reminds me a lot of like Designers Republic. Like the little like the little like illustrations there. Reminds me of like an old, like some old like 90s like video games on like what do you call that? Neo Geo or something. Okay, yeah. Okay, what I would do is I would okay. I'm trying to figure out what you could do with this section here. Ruby X says the logo folio was a multiple project folio of many. Oh, okay. Of many designers, just had some of my logos in there. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Oh, gotcha. Okay, okay. Oh, okay. And then you've got the names for everybody right there. Okay, I see, I see, I see. And so, what did you design here? Okay, you said you did logos, so if some of your designs are within this, I don't know if you can sort of reposition this, but I would put your designs like front and center, like at the top here, and then add like some clear sort of messaging here that kind of lets it be known that like, hey, these are designers, or these are logos created from other people, or honestly oh, okay, it's a multiple owners project. Okay, now, okay, I see, got it. Okay. Okay. Which logos were yours? Which logos did you do that were in here? Then we can kind of look at those and see what's up. Okay. With this project, I think like you could improve this by just simply flipping it on its head. I really want you to start off with this stuff here. Like this stuff is solid. Like you got to put this stuff in the beginning of this case study here. And then I think this stuff, I think you can kind of honestly like get rid of this stuff and just have like a blurb about the logo if you want. But you know, I just think that what you have here way more impactful than kind of just, you know, showing us the hex codes and, you know, showing us like, I think this is good, but let's see that in context also, like if you don't already have it, like if we could see this as like a banner on like a social media or something like that, I think that would be dope. Okay. Cyber Sensei says, what if they split that section in half, take one half up top and have the breakdown in between? Yeah, I think that would work. I think that would work because this, you know, I mean, even if you just scattered this stuff all throughout, I think it would make it like it would make it a whole lot more interesting. But yeah, this is solid. It's solid. And Ruby says they're below and included the Tropina logo. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay. Be right back, y'all. down a little bit. All right. Okay. Where were we? All right. Okay, brush Galleria. Okay. And I'm guessing that you have sort of case studies or individual projects for each one of these, because we just looked at the Tropina one. So yeah, let's just look at these. Okay. Okay, solid. Interesting. Okay. For this, the one thing that I will say is make everything like just a tad bit smaller. I've seen instances of like someone that's potentially hiring a graphic designer or something, or you know, and they're like reviewing someone's portfolio, but the images within their portfolio are so large, especially if it's like a poster. It's so large that, you know, it takes, like, you have to scroll to see the entire poster. And so like for each one of these, I'd say make it a little smaller so that it fits within, you know, sort of the frame here. Like I want to be able to see like the entire bottle, you know, without having to scroll up or scroll down. So just make these like smaller. But this is a interesting layout. Okay. Okay, let's check out a few more. Okay. All right. Nice. This is another one that I would say, like, if you can sprinkle some of this stuff here in between what you have here, I think that would be nice. Like, even if it's like you've got Ruby on the left side, and then on the right side you've got like something like this, like the business cards, and then you've got the bag, and then maybe you have like the vision and the mission behind it. I think that would be nice. So yeah, all of these elements that you have here, just work on sprinkling them throughout the entire sort of a case study there, or the entire project page actually. Let's see. Okay, I like this image here. That's a nice image. Okay. For this, I would make either, for this entire project, I would make either the green a little darker, or make the pink a little bit brighter. The colors that you have here kind of like vibrate, so there's this like weird tension like between the colors that's just like causing my eye to like vibrate a little bit whenever I'm looking at the two colors like interacting with each other. So I just try and like increase the contrast between those colors there a little bit. But this little, this is pretty solid here. Okay. And for the smile, I would maybe I don't know if there's a way that you can kind of make that thicker so that it doesn't kind of feel like the visual weight of the entire sort of word mark kind of almost just makes the smile feel invisible. So if you can just kind of like maybe add like a stroke around this to kind of like thicken it up a little bit, I think that would help. So all right. You want to add a few more steps in between here also, just because you know, I'm starting to see like like I know you did the, you know, blending like Illustrator like blend tool goodness, you know, just add a few more like steps in between so that it's you're not getting that like jagged edge there. But okay, solid. Let's see. All right. Okay. Give me 1 second, y'all. All right. Boy, get down. Get down, Shadow. All right. All right. Let me lock in. There's a lot going on here over here, so I haven't been really focusing on giving you some good feedback here. So let me lock in for you real quick. Okay, not quite skilled in social media designs yet market in here literally forces me, so I just like to show up that I can do basic designs. Okay. This is really good here. Got some potential there. Let's see. Oh, good looks, Grim. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I would say I think you could get rid of this one. Um, I think this one is fine, but I kind of want to see what it looks like within the grid also, you know? If these are meant to be social media designs, they're kind of starting to feel a little bit more like posters. So show it to me in context so it doesn't feel like those are posters. Um I think this is solid here. Let's see. Okay, the way this one is presented is solid. I think if you can do this presentation for, let's see. I mean, well, you kind of do have that presentation for all of these. Well, at least do it for this one. I think that would be good. Okay, okay. Okay. If this is like kind of a mock sort of design, and you didn't design this for like a client or anything, like I'd say like just kind of like repurpose this to, you know, make it appear as if you designed this for an actual client, you know. So you know, expand on this a little bit. Like, you know, you've got it on a shirt, I've seen it on a hoodie, I've seen it on a poster. I was gonna say, let's see what it looked like maybe on like maybe like a tour flyer or something like that. But yeah, let's see. I think we just need a little more like this one's missing something. Like I just can't quite put my finger on it. I think maybe like the graphic needs some supporting elements, you know, that give us context as to sort of what this is and what it's for. So yeah, maybe like additional supporting elements for this one would kind of help package it up a little better. I think this one is solid. Okay. Okay. All right, let's move on to this one. Okay, this works. Nice. Nice. Layout wise, this is the best one so far, I believe. Like if every single one of your projects can have a similar flow to it, like similar to this one, I think you'll be in a good spot. This one flows really well. So key takeaway would be to potentially use the same sort of theme or like template, like project structure, and try and work it into like you know, projects like this one, you know. But also for this project, give us a little bit more, you know, give us some micro elements of some sort somewhere, so that we kind of understand what this graphic is for. Like, I don't know if this is for a band or if it's for like a festival or something. Like we just need something. Grim says, do you have any good inspo when it comes to making social media templates? um social media templates, not really. Not really, to be honest. I don't use a ton of social media templates. Like layouts, okay. It depends on what you're using it for. All right. Good stuff, Ruby. Okay, let's go on to the next one here. Close out all of this stuff. All right, next we got Grim. Okay, the last time you saw my work was almost a year ago. I stepped away from the repetitive collage style and enhanced it, incorporated page layouts inspired by old magazine spreads, the consistency on the thresholds in color and typography. I want feedback on how to enhance this style and find my market when it comes to my signature Y2K streetwear, vintage as flyers, branding, etc., branching out into different avenues, adjustments on how to make it better, or advice on where I can take my style. And I'm open to constructive criticism. Thank you, Swoop. Okay, let's check it out. All right, this is dope. I like that a lot. Just opening here. If you can have, I don't know if it's I don't know how difficult it would be if this section here is set to be whatever the viewport width and height is, but it would be cool if you could add like an arrow like in the bottom center here so that I know to kind of scroll down, because my initial thought was to maybe click on this and there would, you know, something would happen, but yeah, just add like some indicator of like, you know, scroll down. But this is cool. I like this a lot. Okay. 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 Let's see. Okay. Oh, we don't need to see the shop page. Okay. Okay. So you have this style that you're using, and you got this kind of like crunchy sort of like a thresholded look like to all of your posters here, which is cool. If you're trying to venture out and sort of expand on this style, I would just start to kind of like and this is something that I'm sort of guilty of, like with the design challenges. I feel like whenever we launch a new design challenge, first place my mind goes to is like a poster or a flyer. But there are so many other mediums as a designer that you can work within. And one thing I'm trying to do with the design challenges is to tap into those other mediums, you know, that we that our design, you know, that we could start to kind of work within as a graphic designer. Whether it's, you know, it's one thing to do a poster or like a social media, you know, square format for a social media poster, something like that, or like an album square format for like an album cover or something. But it's another thing to kind of show your style amongst like different things that ultimately end up being tangible, and kind of translate to kind of real life, you know. So maybe, yeah, exactly, like magazine spreads, maybe try and incorporate like doing something like a packaging design of some sort. I think those are ways that you can kind of start to expand on this style. You know, what does it look like when you try and do something similar to this, but, you know, have the graphic on, you know, not only a t-shirt, but like a keychain or something like that. You know what I mean? Or like, maybe it's like a cup or something, you know, or maybe it's like what are some other I don't know, like obscure sort of random objects, you know, that you could use, you know. Just try experimenting with different applications, because I see you're sticking to the format, you know, just poster, just straight up poster here. So I would say just try and venture out and sort of expand on like the different applications for stuff like this. Like even if it's like I think earlier when I was talking about someone's portfolio, I mentioned that you know, it would be good if they could kind of convert their design or illustration style into something that's like stream overlays or something like that. So you know, and that's, you know, it's digital, but it's a different sort of medium, it's a different application, you know what I mean? It serves a different purpose. So you know, just figure out some different ways that you can start to implement your style across different mediums, different applications and stuff. Because your work is really consistent here. Like I see the theme. I think you've done a good job with you know, if I'm a client and I'm coming to your portfolio here, I know what to expect. You know, I know what style I'm here for. I know what style I'm gonna get. And so I think now just kind of start to kind of hone in and kind of show people, hey, like not only can I do this style, or, you know, this style for you in poster format and flyer format, but you know, hey, like if you have like, you know, maybe someone's doing like merch design, but, you know, they have specific packaging for like the t-shirts or something, or they have like how Playboy Cardi had like for his rollout for I Am Music, I believe he had like these different like boxes, like box sets that included like a t-shirt, the vinyl, like all of that stuff. Like, what does it look like for you to design like what that box set looks like, you know what I mean? So I think start to think about different stuff like that, because I think you have honed in on your style here. I like kind of how simple this is also. Like it has this sort of like editorial feel to it. I like how you have like this sort of within the corner here. So I think you're doing a solid job with this stuff. Like this is one of my favorites for sure. Like, and if you can, you know, like definitely kind of expand on these. Um like maybe get them printed and like, you know, and take some different photos of them and whatnot. Create individual project pages from them. But yeah, this one I think is your best. This looks like one of the most recent pieces that you've done, and I can kind of see the progression. Especially I think I remember this one. I remember us talking about this one. And so yeah, this is definitely solid. Grim says like a shoebox vinyls. Yeah, like yeah, that's a solid idea too. Maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe it's like Justin Timberlake Nike's collab, you know what I mean? And you design the shoebox for it. Like, I think that would be super sick. And like, go ahead, you know, whip up a poster for Timothy Chalamet or something. Do, you know, something completely random, like Timothy Chalamet, like Nike collab or something, you know? I think that would be dope. But yeah, I think this is solid, and I think you've really simplified the number of projects you have here. There's not too much, there's not too little. I think now just kind of work on sort of expanding, like on the mediums and applications and stuff. Like as far as posters, like which ones to keep for posters as you enter into this like next phase, like for your portfolio and expanding on the different mediums in which you can design in. I say keep this one. This one is tough. Like, I like this poster a lot. I think more like this, but different, more of this style, this look, this vibe, but just different style, or not different style, different application. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say about this one, about your portfolio here. It's solid work though. Really, really love it. Zines would be nice also. Zines would be a good way of like zines would be a good medium. Zines would be a good medium. Like, even if you took like just all of these designs and whatnot and just kind of put all of these within like some sort of zine, but now that's sort of just one project. I think that's a solid use case, even if it's like, you know, your archives, but like in zine format, and you just kind of scanned it in, and now you just have this one project that's just like, oh, here are my archives, you know, from, you know, circa 2000 and, you know, 2017 or something like that. I think that I think that would be solid. But yeah, I think you got some good stuff here. And I think that that ends all of the I think that ends the portfolio reviews. Yeah, definitely a separate page for all archives. But I mean, honestly, I don't even think you really need an archives page. I think it would be super dope if you just had like a zine like that just constantly was updated. No, actually that would be a lot of work actually. Like if you put all of your designs within a zine, and that's one project, but then maybe like with time, like you introduce like new zines, like I don't know. I mean, you could do like you could have like a zines section instead of like an archive section. Maybe you just had like a zine section, and it's just like different, just like different like years of like personal projects, but like they're in like zine format. I think that would be cool. But you know, just those are just ideas, you know. You don't really need to do that stuff. What's more important is, you know, focusing on the different applications, the different mediums, and for your style here. I do think you got something good. So yeah, solid work. But yeah, to wrap things up, we have I was gonna design something for y'all, but design something on stream, but we're already like 3 hours 30 minutes in. I'd much rather end on that note than sort of like stretch myself here and try and whip something up and we'd be on stream for like 7 hours. I probably wouldn't whip up anything good. So yeah, so for this design challenge, this month's design challenge, we've got design a magazine spread using mixed media. So yeah, season perfect opportunity for you to whip something up and using like a different application of some sort, you know what I mean? Or not yeah, season. Yeah, Grim. Okay. Make sure I got that right there. So perfect opportunity for you to whip something up in a different sort of medium or whatever. So yeah, design a magazine spread using mixed media. I've got some mixed media elements that I'll be working from that are like within my graphic design like asset shop. But you know, yeah, I don't have any ideas as to what I'm gonna whip up just yet. Maybe I'll have some idea like by next stream or something. But yeah, submission deadline will be the 21st. Live critique date will be the 22nd. So for the streams this month, you know, look forward to kind of, you know, expect to see me whipping something up, you know, using mixed media. Maybe I'll like end up showing off like some different ways of like, you know, scanning assets in and stuff and using that stuff within the designs. But we'll see. I got a few ideas, but we'll see. Ward Media, what's good, bro? He says, yo, did you end up reaching out to Jack? I didn't. I've been way too busy with brand partnerships and stuff. Like I haven't even had time to kind of post this month on like socials and whatnot because I've been so wrapped up with like brand partnerships. But hoping to get back log back in on Instagram and TikTok content and stuff sometime this coming month. He says I told him about the thing and he liked the idea a lot, so you two just need to lock in. Okay, bet. Yeah, I'll hit him up. See what did we talk about again? I think was it like a design challenge that we would do? Like I sort of forget. You'll have to remind me on Discord so I can write it down and actually like kind of put forth some action items here. Because if it doesn't get translated into a sticky note for me, then like I will forget about it. So you gotta remind me. But yeah, man. So that is the design challenge for the month, bruh. It's been a good stream. This has been a solid stream. I feel like this was a good design portfolio design review, especially with it being last minute. You know, I think I dropped the link in on Discord and threw it up on Instagram like 2 or 3 hours before. You know, I knew that I would do this, so yeah, I think it went pretty solid. Maybe next time, you know, I'll give everybody like maybe like a few days in advance to kind of get their work up. You know, maybe you can kind of touch your stuff up a little bit and then just kind of like drop it into you know, the portfolio review section, wherever that's gonna be for the next stream, the next portfolio review stream. But yeah, it's been real though. Thank y'all for rocking with me. It's Swoop Nebula. We signing off. We out. Peace.